Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome, everybody, to the Hockey Think Tank podcast, brought to you by the hockeythinktank.com and the Hockey Think Tank community, a place for all passionate players, parents, and coaches to go to get a little bit of education and a little inspiration regarding the greatest game on the planet. What an episode we have for you guys here today. We are bringing on Kevin Clark. Kevin Clark, who had an incredible hockey career that started in Winnipeg, Manitoba, played his college hockey at the University of Alaska Anchorage, and then had a, let's count it, 12-year professional career. He was the player of the year in the DEL, which is one of the top leagues over in Europe. Also played a little bit in the AHL in his hometown Manitoba Moose. And now he is working with a lot of players on player development and video analysis. Dude, really, really smart hockey guy. I didn't know him. Vex knew him before this. Really smart hockey guy. It's a great conversation. But before we do get over to Kevin, let's bring on the talent of the podcast, the one Jeffrey J. Who Lovechkio. Vex, what's shaking today, man?
Not much, brother. Not much. Just living the dream here. Excited for this one. This was a great episode with a really, really smart hockey guy.
Yeah, and you were saying there was like people that were reaching out to you when you like put the Instagram bat signal out there that he was coming on.
Yeah, I had quite a few very NHL guys who played in NHL, AHL, European pros reach out and DM me and be like, "This guy knows his stuff. He's such a good dude. Excited for this one." So I was like, "Oh, all right, what's up? Pretty cool."
Yeah, and this is a guy who like probably looking at his numbers and hearing him talk and understanding his journey a little better, had he had 4 or 5 more inches to him, he probably would have had a long NHL career. Right. And you look at, top player in the DEL, best plus minus for 2 years in the DEL, played the Spangler Cup for Team Canada, which is the biggest tournament outside in hockey of the Olympics and the World Cup that they do every year. If you're not familiar with it, just an unbelievable career over in Europe. And, having played over there, when you have a long extended career over in Europe, you're probably an NHL caliber type player. But there's one thing that just doesn't translate, whether it's your foot speed, or particularly there's a lot of guys, it's their size. They're just, they're not big. And so I think Kevin was one of those guys, and it was really cool to just talk some hockey with him. We got to talk about making it as a younger player. We got to talk a lot about development and hockey sense and IQ and watching video and just a really good hockey guy. I'm not surprised that so many people reached out to you after they knew he was coming on.
Yeah, and you guys are going to hear with a smaller guy, and any guy having a career like he did, an unbelievable career, and then especially taking the height and the factor and the time that he started his higher level hockey career when they were really only looking at guys above 6 foot 6'2", and for him to do as well as he did, but start out by not being quote unquote good enough, like not making teams. I mean, you're going to hear that in the beginning.
Another player that we've had on the podcast, and we don't know this beforehand, guys. No. Like, we don't know what their youth hockey stuff is, but it is absolutely incredible to hear how many people have these amazing professional hockey careers that got cut at like 14, 15 years old from whatever team, high school team, AAA team, community team. It's insane. That's why I hate that, dude. That's why I freaking hate like Mike AAA. It's the stupidest thing ever, because you should not be narrowing the talent pyramid at young ages. It's just ridiculous. Because so ridiculous. How many people are we missing out on by doing that?
And why are we making people spend that type of money at that age? That's a whole. For me, that's the number one thing. Come on, our sport is already way too expensive. To make it more expensive earlier for no reason other than bringing more money into organizations and then adult ego. That's all it is. It's stupid. It
doesn't make players better. No, 100%. But yeah, I just like, and that again, like, that's why it's really cool to hear some of these stories, because it's the truth, man. Like, There's a lot of people now, granted, a lot of people are the best player from, diapers all the way to when they get to the NHL, but there's also a lot that aren't. The most amount of players that go to the NHL when it comes to the NHL draft, I did this with the American-born players that I did that study on. The first amount was the first round, just surefire guys. The second was undrafted, right? Everybody's got a different path. And when we narrow that path too early, it sucks the joy out of the game for a lot of people, and we lose out on a lot of kids that might be really good hockey players, when they get older. So anyways, I digress. Yeah, this was a great conversation. One thing I want to say before we do get over to Kevin here, a huge thank you to the Hockey Think Tank, greater community. All of our listeners, all the people that follow me on social media. So I put a note out last week about a coach mentorship program that we're putting together. And Vex, dude, I had 90 people reach out. I had 90 people reach out from community mite coaches to I had multiple college coaches reach out saying, hey, I want to be a part of this. How can I help? That was really cool. Really, really cool. And I don't know if validating is the right word, but, we work really hard to provide, just an environment and a perspective where people can understand the game a little bit better, be motivated to be a little bit better in whatever it is that they do, whether it's inside the sport or outside of the sport. And to have so many people want to be a part of this was really, really cool. Really, really cool. So a huge, huge, huge thank you. And it's funny, even when people reach out to me about doing different partnerships from a business standpoint, one of the things that I always get to say is our following is fiercely loyal, fiercely loyal. And, we are really, really passionate hockey people between the two of us. And I'm so glad that we've been able to, I don't know if attract is the right word, but we've been able to bring people under our umbrella that are also just love the game, man, that absolutely love the game. And so we appreciate you guys so much. We say it at the end of the intro, every week. But just thank you guys. This is really, really cool how many people reached out, wanted to be a part of it, wanted to make a difference, wanting to get better themselves. And I was very clear, when I emailed people back, hey, this isn't a one-way street where, I'm going to be a part of this mentorship program and I'm just going to be the mentee. No, this is a two-way street where I want you to help other people in the game. And I want you to mentor people and I want you to contribute and give your opinion and things like that. So just warm the heart a little bit. So thanks everybody. Appreciate you guys.
Hell yeah, dude. Doing big things, helping a lot of people. Love it.
Yeah. So with that, let's get over to Kevin Clark. But before we do, have some people to thank. First, want to thank our title sponsor, icehockeysystems.com. The best website out there for all your coaching education needs. Guys, I was just out in Buffalo last week and was doing a lot of filming, doing a lot of shooting for some really, really awesome things that Ice Hockey Systems is going to be pulling out of their hat. And that's coming out in a couple month or two, and it's going to change the game. It's going to be really, really cool. Can't tell you exactly what it is yet, but it's going to be really, really cool. So go to icehockeysystems.com today. We've actually partnered with them to do an associations platform where you can get this for every single coach in your organization. Go to icehockeysystems.com today, guys. Absolute no-brainer. Jeffrey?
Want to give a massive thank you to Train Heroic. You guys know Train Heroic's the awesome app that I use and have worked with tens of thousands of hockey players around the world, as well as general population people train with me online. Whether you're a team, an individual, an organization, I can help you train smarter and harder, both off season and in season. All right. Cleanest app ever. Direct access to me. You are not talking to my coaches. You are talking to me when you DM me in the app. If you're a team that works with me, you get video calls throughout the year, throughout the season, throughout the off season, whenever you're working with me, with your team, and we will go over tons of different performance enhancing topics. So if you're a team wanting to train, whether it's at home, younger players in season, in a gym, any gym you're choosing, the team can go to, or if you have your own gym at your facility, all right, I can help you train smarter and harder for a fraction of the price. Thank you to Train Heroic for making all of that possible.
Boom. Also want to thank Helios Hockey, guys. The challenge is here. The challenge is here. I've been floating a challenge for a couple weeks now, and here's what we're going to do. I just turned 40. I got to make sure that my health is a priority. And so I've teamed up with Helios Hockey, where I am going to be using their sensor every day for an entire month in a lead up to the season. And if you do it with me, you have the chance to win your own Helios. All you got to do, go to my social media pages, go to especially my Instagram, and you'll find the details. What you got to do is you got to make a social media post. You got to tag a few people, maybe a few hashtags, and you might have the ability to win yourself a free Helios, which is one of the best products on the market, guys. Helios Hockey, it is a sensor you put into your shoulder pad that gives you real-time data and feedback on your play, specifically what they love to call a hustle score. And also it helps you with your stride length, stride mechanics. Also, it pairs up with your video. So you get your shifts cut up for you at the end of the game, every game. Unbelievable. Go to helioshockey.com today. Use the coupon code ThinkTank, one word, and you will get a discount of 20% on your Pro Annual or your Pro 24-month subscription. Or you can get it for free by doing this challenge. So go to Instagram, check my page out, and you'll be able to find out all the details there. And we'll put it on the bottom of the show notes too. Also want to thank Crossbar, the best website out there for anybody that's running a youth organization. It helps you streamline your operations so greatly. What do they give you? It's a sleek website design, the ability to go in and have registrations and scheduling for everything from your season to drop-ins and clinics and private lessons. There's a 5-star communication app. There's a scheduling part of it. And there's facility management, there's financial management, dude, like anything you need to run your youth organization, it's all there in a one-stop shop. So go to crossbar.org today and check that out. And lastly, thank you to all of our amazing listeners. We love you guys so incredibly much. If you can do one thing for us, it would be to interact with our podcast in your podcast apps. So every comment, every download, every rating, if you follow us, it goes a long way in the algorithm in the back end of the computer. By the way, just watched Zoolander yesterday. It's in the computer or on your phone. But it's, if you could just do that, it helps with getting some more ears on our podcast. And hey, we love you guys. We absolutely love you guys. If you can do that for us, that would be phenomenal. Share us with everybody that you know. And hey, we love you guys so much. We bring on amazing guests. It's the reason why our podcast, I think, has gone to the stratosphere like it has. It's because the guests that we bring on and the perspectives that they provide. So without further ado here, let's bring on Kevin Clark. We are so excited to have on this episode of the podcast. He's in Colorado Springs, Colorado right now via a lot of different spots, but grew up in the beautiful Winnipeg, Manitoba area. We got Kevin Clark today. Kevin, how we doing?
Doing well, boys. Thanks for having me.
And we're excited to talk some shop with you, but let's bring it right back to the beginning and to introduce you to all of our listeners. And you grew up right outside of Winnipeg in Manitoba there. Jets fan growing up, like how'd you fall in love with this great game of hockey?
Yeah, I mean, Moose fan growing up because they left in '96, so I was pretty young. And then, come full circle, had the opportunity to start my pro career there. So it was pretty surreal in that moment. Watching guys like Mike Keane, and then you're in the dressing room with them and you're like, what am I doing here? It's a reality check, but super cool moment. Grew up there, played my youth hockey there and junior hockey there, which people probably think is absurd because everyone looks at the MJ and they're like, what are you doing? But it worked out that way and got to play for a long time. So super grateful for, the experiences that I've had.
That's awesome, man. Well, let's dive into that a little bit as far as playing in the MJ, because, when you're in Manitoba, most players are going to play in the WHL. Was college always what you wanted to do, or was there, something that kind of happened that forced your hand to want to go to college and not go to the dub? Like, what was the process there of kind of choosing college hockey and going from there?
Like most guys in that era, I'm undersized. So, my draft year in the Western League, it's so young. You guys talk about that on your show, but I was probably like 5'5", 120 pounds. Like I started playing juniors. I was probably like a $150, at 15, like 16 years old, and went to college at 160. So like there's, my wasn't physically mature for the Western League. And I went to a camp, always went to camps, never was like drafted or listed at all. Went to one, got the wheels beat off of me. My dad was like, what am I doing? Taking time off work. Like we drove out to Saskatoon. It's like an 8-hour hike. And I was like, you know what, Dad, like after that fight, I was kind of like, I don't think I want it. Like, I think I want to go to school, or, that's my route. You start to do some research and you see the old WCHA has got 6 out of 10 sheets that are Olympic size. And you start to see maybe a pathway for you. So, it wasn't for me at that time, maturity wise. If anything, it made me tougher, and what to expect. And probably prepared me best for the MJ, because that's pretty tough, with, 3 reservations that you got to go up and play. And, that's a different world as well.
Yeah, for sure. And just so everybody knows and understands here, all the kids out there, here's a kid that didn't get drafted in the WHL draft at 14, 15 years old, couldn't make a major junior team, and ends up being a point a game player playing Division I hockey, has an incredible pro career, wins a championship in one of the best leagues over in Europe in the DEL. Like, again, this is why everybody has a different path, guys. We try to say this so much on the podcast, but like, and again, that's why I absolutely despise how we narrow the talent pyramid at such young ages, because you don't have to. You don't have to. And it's better not to. And here's another shining example of someone who didn't have it figured out at 14, 15 years old, didn't get drafted into the junior drafts, and has an amazing career. Right. So like, what did you take? Because we get notes, honestly, Kevin, all the time from parents, and we get notes from kids even too. Like, man, I'm 13 years old, I'm 14 years old, and I didn't make this team, and I feel like my career's over. I feel like my kid's going to get left behind, all that kind of stuff, which there's always a little bit of truth to that. You obviously want to make the teams that you're trying out for. But I know for me, like, when I got cut from different teams at young ages, it fueled me to get better. It was like a wake up call. Like, hey, I got to put this. It wasn't anybody else's fault. It wasn't blaming other people. It was like, no, I need to get better. So as you were going through that, every kid growing up in Manitoba, for the most part, has dreams of playing in the WHL and then playing in the NHL. It wasn't in the cards for you. So as you were figuring out that wasn't the path, that you had thought about, talk to me about some of the experiences that you might have had, some of the advice you might have gotten as you're going through that time, and some of that tough stuff that helped you to be successful later on in your hockey career.
Yeah, well, that's a great question. I think it forces you to take an in-depth analysis on yourself, and to draw back on moments that were crucial and critical. And I think the first one, I have a super late birthday in December 29th. So, you missed the wagon by a few days, and you're like, come on. Now you look at it and you're like, you understand when you have kids, why, you can't hold on any longer, but,
Mom, put them back in.
Yeah. But, so, playing juniors, I wasn't even expecting to make the MJ because I was 15, which is my 16-year-old year, because I have a late birthday. So I was just going to go back and play midget AAA again. And I played as an underage with a few of us. It's kind of 15, 16, 17. There's maybe a couple 17-year-olds, majority 16s. And there was a few of us that were underage. Fast forward to that year, first year juniors, didn't think I'm going to make it, end up making it. You're healthy scratched a little bit. You're like, how's this going to work out, pan out? You go up and play in La Paz, Manitoba, in OCN. And, there's 1,000 screaming fans and men that are yelling at me like, hey, Clark, go back to Pee Wee. Like, I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, just about to poop my pants on the ice. Just like, but you learn to protect yourself right away as a smaller guy, and what you need and to get around out there. And obviously back in those days, there was always players that you had on your team that were going to take care of you. So I mean, that's just an influential year in a sense of maturity off the ice, seeing things, rookie parties and hanging out with guys at the back of the bus and, having your first chew and puking and, what's Crown Royal. And, you're like, oh my goodness, like where am I in a sense? Like, things that mom and dad probably haven't heard yet, but, they envision it maybe later on, not that early. So you grow up very quickly and then, a huge moment that, I think kids need to learn as well is, I played there for 2 years in the MJ and you think, okay, like what's next? And I get drafted by Omaha. They're set to go to Omaha. There's only 2 imports back then. Pretty sure Hastings was the guy or Keith Fisher was the guy. And he's like, okay, you're coming in August. I went to the camp. I was like, this is where I want to be. Calls me in like June. I'm graduating here. And says like, yeah, you didn't send in the workout plans and, we're going to release you. And I thought like, does this guy know who I am off the ice? Like what my discipline is and commitment and investment being a smaller guy. And I think that fueled me, but I was so scared at that moment because I told my MJ coach, I'm not coming back. I'm going down there. This is my pathway. And, that's the pathway to D1 back then. I mean, still now, maybe not in the future, but every player goes D1 out of that league. So that's where I was going to go for my 3rd year of juniors. And then it didn't pan out. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going back to the MJ again. And, I had a great coach in Kenny Pearson who helped me. I had 5 full visits ready to go, fly downs everywhere. Season starts, you start to get looks and scholarships. You're like, okay, this is going to work out. Let's pick the right one. Stay at home. We win the league that year. And it worked out for the best, I think. But you don't see that. You can't see that because you're in it and you have such a narrow focus. And you look back on it now and you're like, I truly believe I am a big believer of things happen for a reason. But again, that was a situation where you're at 17 and you're like, wow, I'm not good enough to play at this level. Okay, well, this is going to be a little more fuel for fire here. Like, I'll take this as a motivation. And I think that's been for me as a smaller guy, and Toph, like, and even Vex is just all the doubters. Everybody that said, it's too small. That guy won't play. He's undisciplined, or that's just the whatever. You remember all those words, and you just continue to go on. And I mean, over time, and you get to be in your 30s or 37 in my sake, or 38, and you look at all the guys that were your 87 birth year, and how many guys are still playing hockey? I don't know, like Ryan Reeves, that's it. Like from 87. Darren Helm was another unreal player. We had a lot of guys in that birth year that ended up playing pro careers. Fraser McLaren, a lot of tough guys from Winnipeg, older guys. Like, we always had tough guys. Colton Orrs, a few years older than me, but man, Winnipeg just breeds hockey players, and breeds those tough guys in a sense where it was good for me. So
I want to ask you, well, first of all, what year were you at Omaha camp? I think we were there together, bro.
Yeah, probably, man. After playing 2 years with a visor, you go down there and it's like everyone's just smashing you with gauges on. You're like, this is a Royal Rumble out here. But
yeah, that was me. That was probably me. Definitely
been 03, 04.
Yeah.
Or 04, 05 maybe. Because my last year juniors was 05, 06. So it would have been like after 2005 season.
Okay.
Summer,
I missed you by 1 year.
Just missed him by a year.
Yeah, by a year. But I wanted to ask you there because, I train a lot of guys and talk to a lot of guys that are like in that kind of right there where they got cut at a junior camp. They got cut from a junior team. They went from a higher level, got sent down to the lower level. And, and I remember being that age too and thinking like what I thought at the time was a misstep or an accident in my career that, oh my God, the sky is falling, and Toph kind of spoke to this too, but I think it's something that it can't be talked about enough because like I see it in these kids' faces. If one of my guys goes to a junior camp and he gets cut and he's like, well, I have to give up hockey and now hockey's over and I'm just going to go join a frat. And I'm like, dude, you didn't make one team. Like there's a billion teams out there. Like, do you actually want this? hardship is part of it. But do you have any advice for those players? And this could go for a guy trying out for a midget AAA team and he gets cut
sure.
and he plays Central States. But what I've learned from my own career in business, in life, resiliency is everything. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit different in sports because you have a window that you have to make juniors and things like that. But do you have any advice to players who are kind of going through something similar to what you went through there?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I think you have to draw on, your support circle. And at that age, it's your parents mostly, or it could be your strength coach in Vex or Toph, that somebody that maybe you coached when in the youth days, and you still have that relationship with that player as they go into their teens. So they'll confide in you because you guys don't control their ice time. So we have the biggest influence on them because we're independent. And they'll come to you or us with knowing that value that we give them. And in terms of what to tell them, I mean, I don't know if there's a specific one thing or two things or three things, but I think it's, control your preparation. Like you look at Vex and all the guys that are what they do. You control that, you control your work ethic, and you control your attitude. And everything else is external. So if you can try and help these kids realize it has no effect what anybody else is doing, because everyone has FOMO. Everyone, it looks to their buddy. He's on that pathway. That guy's so sick. That guy's so good. Just focus on you, your own individual development.
Let me get you to dig even a little deeper.
Sure.
Because I think that a lot of people say this. And, when I was playing in Omaha and I felt like my coach friggin' hated me and he was trying to get me to quit, like literally. Yeah. And I'm getting offers from schools that I didn't want to go to, or it wasn't enough money to where I wasn't going to take it because I didn't want my parents to have to pay for school after doing everything. Like, I don't know how I was able to dig deeper and battle through all that sludge and shit that was going on. Mm-hmm. But I found a way to put my head down and just show up every day, despite feeling, it probably wasn't the case, but feeling like the world was against me. Mm-hmm. And I feel like at this age, there's a lot of players that feel that. Is there anything anyone said to you? Is there anything that there was a light bulb where you're like, well, I just got to show up every day. I got cut from the dub. I'm a smaller guy. Yeah. I got beat up. Omaha decided not to take me. It sounds like you're getting punched in the face metaphorically and actually over and over. Is there something that happened where you're like, okay, I'm just going to keep showing up at that age? Or was there a conversation?
I don't know if there was. I mean, for one, I had an unbelievable friend, Garrett Moore, who was just a monster, and he taught me how to lift in technique in the gym, and we would spar. He's like 6'4", 220, and we ended up playing juniors, and we're going to spar at the Pan Am public pool, kind of the YMCA, and he's like, there's not gonna be anybody bigger than you. And I'm not fighting all the time, but I think it prepared me I'm gonna be okay here. In that mindset where what kind of situation are you in? At that age, you don't even realize what this guy's doing to you. He's just being a big brother that I didn't have. And, I looked to that moment in a sense of preparation just for total overview of it helped me face anything. What else am I going to be facing that's bigger than this in that moment, on the ice or off the ice? I mean, I'm trying to pinpoint a moment that was a light bulb moment. And I don't know if it's a light bulb moment. It's just when you're in Winnipeg and you're surrounded with other guys and in those early ages where I had to pay for my own training and ask the trainer, can I do a payment plan? Because my parents don't have money to pay for this. But I got to see the likes of, Nigel Dawes, Cam Barker, Dustin Boyd, just wagons of a year, in Winnipeg. And then older guys that were already playing, like Ty Arneson. And then you see these guys train and go to the football field and be surrounded with those guys. And you're like, I want to be that guy. I know I'm far away from that, but like, I'm just going to do whatever is possible for me to get to that next level. And it wasn't a survival mode, but it was like, I want more. And that's the mentality I've always had. Growing up, you know, you live in a median income. You don't understand some of the decisions that are made in your house. And then you start a family. You just don't want to be that family that's living paycheck to paycheck. And you want to be, because what is confidence as a man? Well, it's financial freedom. So if you have the ability to not stress about that, now we're talking about this, is you're able to set your family up for the future. But you don't think about it at that age. But at that age, the decision was like, I'm going to go to school for free, because if I don't go to school, I can't pay for this. I can't afford this. My parents can't afford this. I can barely afford $500 to go for 1 month at work out with NHLers. But I'll do it. I'll figure it out.
I'll find a way.
You know, at 16 or whatever, you know, I'll work at Superstore doing produce and whatever, driving a boat of a car that, like, I was like, Dad, I can't show up to school in this car, you know, but I'll make it work.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, you get emotional a little bit in that sense, because now you have a family that you have to provide for, and you have 2 kids, and you look back at what your parents did for you, and you get to juniors and you don't have to pay for hockey anymore. And then you get to college hockey and you're like, wow, like you get a stipend. Like I get money.
They get a little more than that now.
Yeah. No, yeah, goodness. Yeah. Gavin McKenna, are you kidding me? But, and then it's, you know, in college, like, I think it's just going out saying you want this. And then who are the people that you accept and surround yourself with? Because when I was in college, you want to turn pro, right? Like the reason I went to college at 18 was so I could turn pro at 22. Do most people think like that? I don't know. Most guys might have a different pathway. I'm intentional. Same, no reason. That's the way we work. I work as a business now, but that's how I was as a player. Like everything had an intentional purpose, and you had a pathway in your mind. Was it going to go that way? Well, we'll see when we're in it. And you make adjustments when you're live.
Yeah.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not so secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
The secret is out. With millions of younger-looking customers across the country, Plexaderm is one of the most highly sought-after products on the market. It visibly shrinks under-eye bags and smooths out crow's feet in minutes, and the effects last up to 10 hours. Influencers love it, magazines feature it, and people just can't get enough of it. As a matter of fact, Elle Magazine gave it an Editor's Choice Award as Best Instant Wrinkle Filler for 2025. In as little as 10 minutes, Plexaderm reduces the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, and those dreaded under-eye bags. So yes, you can look years younger in minutes, and the effects last for hours. No surgery, no gimmicks, just results. The best news, you can try Plexaderm for only $14.95. Plus, get free shipping. Don't wait. Order Plexaderm today. Visit plexaderm.com/special. That's plexaderm.com/special. Paid for by Sheer Science.
Vex, I want to go back to something. I love it. Literally, when I do my talks with young kids and teams, the first two things that I talk about are resilience and surrounding yourself with the right people, which is the theme of this conversation so far. And I want to go back to something that you talked about, Vex, when you were in Omaha and you were going through your tough stuff, right? Like, you had Stas there with you. You had Mizey there with you. You had Lurgy, that is you're still best friends with and talk to you all the time. You had great teammates, and it's a lot easier to struggle and get out of it when you have a great culture within the locker room and you have great people with you that you want to go to battle with than if it's a crap culture and everybody's for themselves and siloed. And so, like, for all the coaches out there, you're going to have players that are going to struggle on your team. You're going to have players that aren't getting the ice time that they want. You're going to have players that aren't playing up to their potential for whatever reason that is. The better your culture is and the more you invest in people, the easier it is for those players to get out of those ruts. And then you're going to have more wins because players are going to play better. So just number one, like, I think about you Vex, and talking about your struggles in Omaha, you had great dudes in the locker room and built-in friends even, that you've known, years previously. And then the other thing, like, you talk about surrounding yourself with the right people. I think all three of us just obviously, I know my story and Vex's story, and hearing you, Kevin, like, we all have great parents. We all have great parents who didn't make excuses for us. And there's nothing worse for a kid's career than to have a mom or a dad that always makes excuses for you. I'm going to repeat that again. There's nothing worse for a kid's career than having a mom or a dad that make excuses for them.
Can I get an amen?
And I distinctly remember I was really struggling in my first couple years of junior hockey. Like, it was a culture shock. I went in young. Like, it was just the hardest years of hockey that I had ever had by a million. And I'll never forget a conversation that I had with my dad. And, I was poor me in it big time. Like, I feel like I don't like hockey anymore. Like, I don't have any confidence. Like, I was just in a really bad spot. And the things that he always, and my mom too, always preached with me was control the things that you can control and find a positive in the situation. Control the things that you can control and find a positive in the situation. If you can learn to reframe any situation in that capacity, like, your life will change. It literally will change. And it helped me to change my outlook and mindset. And now it wasn't like a light bulb switch. I snapped my fingers and all of a sudden I was better again. But I started to make more intentional choices of seeing things in that way. And when you do that, you have a better demeanor and you have more intention with what you do. And you're not so worried about the outside noise. You're just focused on what you can do and how you see situations. And so, again, like, surrounding yourself with the right people. And then, Kevin, you talked about having the opportunity to watch all these other players that were on the path that you were on and were having some success already. Oh, this is what these people do. Oh, maybe I should implement that into my routine, or maybe I should do some of these things that I see these people doing. And so, again, it's funny. Vex, I had a conversation with Nar yesterday, awesome conversation. And the theme of that was, like, it's all about people, man. It's all about people. And really, at the end of the day, like, you want to be successful, like, surround yourself with the best people. They will help you to be resilient. They will help you to see situations in the right way. That's going to help you have a better outlook. And so, like, man, I love this conversation. I feel like we have this conversation a lot on this podcast, but it's so cool. I think, especially for the parents and for the kids that listen to us, and listen to the guests that come on and share their stories, there's a common theme with so many, even the ones that have achieved some amazing things in this game. 90% of them, 95% of them, 99% of them, we have the same conversation. I went through some really, really tough stuff. I had some really good people in my corner to help me through it and see it in a different light and perspective. And man, that's not how you become successful in hockey. It's how you become successful in life too. It's everything. Surround yourself with good people, choose to see the good in situations, work your way through, and everybody's journey, for the most part, that achieves something worth substance in their lives follows that path.
And it doesn't matter your skills, your size. Tope's 5 foot tall. Maybe he's got a couple inches behind the 5. Clarky's 5'9". I'm 6'2", twisted steel, sex appeal. We all went through all these hard times. But like Clarky was saying, he had his buddy who's 6'4" beating him up in the boxing ring, but in a loving way to help him get going. And with me, when I got injured my first year, and after going through all the shit in the beginning of the year, I had a guy from the Western League named John Togiai, who has changed my career because he brought me under his wing. He was injured at the same time, and he got me into working out. He was probably the most jacked guy in the entire USHL that year. Mm-hmm. Massive afro, coolest guy ever. He was a fighter in the dub and then came to us. We were injured at the same time, and he worked out with me and put me through workouts for those 3 months I was injured. And those 3 months completely changed my entire life. I started looking at things, a different way. I started, finding a way to build confidence in myself through my own work ethic, and it changed my freaking life. But like Toph said, we all went through these hard times. It sounds like none of our parents tried to make it better for us. My dad, Toph said his dad's advice. My dad's was almost the same. In my beautiful, sick home gym that I have right next to me, I have the biggest sign in my house. It says hard work, patience, more hard work. Because that has been my dad's only advice to me about anything my entire life. Mm-hmm. And so anytime something's hard, I'm like, okay, let's get back to it. Be patient, hard work, more freaking hard work,
For sure.
Well, Kevin, let me ask you this. We've talked about your journey here as a smaller player. I certainly have that journey as well. Thank you, Vex, for pointing out my 5 foot and just a couple more inches on that.
I'm probably a couple phone books to 5'9", but it's you would try and put some ankle weights on when you're getting the college. Oh,
buddy, you got to hear Toph's story about the. I was telling it the other day in the gym, Toph, your central scouting story. Oh
my God. So Kev, I think I've told this story on the podcast, but I'll tell it again. So my draft year in the USHL, so I was 17 or whatever. We do the USHL Fall Classic at the beginning of the year, and Central Scouting always comes to do official heights and weights for everybody. And so I go in, it's like one of the locker rooms, and I go into the locker room, and they got the way that they measure you for height is they have this like ruler taped along the wall, and you just go and you put your back and your heels against the wall, and then wherever your head goes on the ruler going up. And so I go up to the thing, I put my heels and my back to the wall, and unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess for me, it starts at 5'6". So my head doesn't even get to the bottom of the ruler taped up against the wall. And so the guy from Central Scouting looks at me, he gives me a little smirk, and he goes, we'll give you 5'6". And so I was awesome. Like, yes, I've been 5'6" in the program ever since. And didn't get me drafted, but that's okay. But either way, I wanted to ask you, so I feel like, so I'm a smaller player. Whenever we get the opportunity to have smaller players on, I'll always ask this question because very few kids that are growing up are 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2". Most of us are underneath that. But I'm looking at your stats. And your last year of junior hockey, Vex, last year of junior hockey in the MJ, we had 76 points in 50 games and 250 penalty minutes.
Oh my God. I'm looking at them too. I didn't even see that.
So averaging 5 minutes of penalties per game, your last year of junior hockey.
They count tens there. So, I mean,
okay. All right. So, but either way, so the question that I have for you is, for me as a smaller player, I had little man syndrome, what I will call little man syndrome, where it doesn't matter. Wherever the puck is going, I'm coming out of the corner with it. I'll chew your leg off. I'll do whatever I have to do, but like, I want this more than you, and I'm going to get it. And so that competitiveness, that compete level, that little bit of psycho, I call it, you gotta have a little bit of psycho because when you're our size, especially in junior and college and pro hockey, like you have to be a little bit irrational to think that you can get every puck, that you go in. So I'm wondering for you, like, what was your mindset as a smaller player, looking at those stats, thinking about the success that you've had in the game, as you were doing your training, as you were practicing, as you were in the games? What was your mindset that allowed you to be successful as someone who was not blessed with the twisted steel and sex appeal thing that Jeffrey was bestowed, by God, 6'2", whatever.
I think,
what was your mindset?
I think, that's lost in today's game is the ability to have an edge and be an ultra competitor. But, I mean, not many people know this story, but I mean, I thought that I was done in juniors with, immaturity and protecting yourself. Cause, that was probably the main issue of, playing a lot against, again, like there's OCN, there was Southeast and like Wawisi Capo, like 3 native places where you're going in there, just kind of like, how's this going to end tonight? And, I thought I was done with that. I go to play at Anchorage, my first game. We have this tournament there. We do, the old school, like coaches, like, yeah, the forwards line up with the D's. We're going to blast them forward. Puck goes in like 7 seconds into the attacking zone. I bury a guy because I'm just so jacked up and I'm getting checking from behind. I'm out of here. See you Saturday night. That was my start to my college career. I'm like, call my dad. I'm just like crying, like in the tunnel, just like, I don't even know what happened. Like just call him after. I'm just like, I don't even know. Go back the next night, get 1+1. I think it's 2-2 tie. I'm out. It's all good after the weekend. But no, that was, I think, I don't know where that's ingrained for me. Like, is it, having that big brother competition with your friends all the time? Never like just compete, but compete meaning like you hate to lose in anything you do. And off the ice, I'm going to beat you up. I'm going to beat you up this football stadium right now. If we go up the stairs, or like, when is that ingrained? Well, I just think over time, when you play with your buddies and you're playing growing up, you play on the street and you play roller hockey, you don't want to lose. And, we were in our team setting last week in our summer program. We had a fight. And I was like, where does this happen in the summertime? I was like, this is unbelievable, boys. Like I was taken back. This is junior players. Like, we're having a scrap in a summer league program. And I was like, wow, intensity, compete, like that's where it's learned. And then it's obviously learned through like an intensive role model, a coach that has instilled this into you, that like accountability, like Toph, that is not okay. Vex, like you cannot do that. And there's going to be light bulb moments in that sense where you're like, oh shit, like he's right. And it's like, how bad do you want it? Are you going to change or not? And so I think I've just always played with an edge. I think as a smaller player, throughout my whole career, I was willing to go to the front of the net. I was willing to go to the hard areas because eventually that's where the puck's going to go. And that's where the majority of the goals are scored. I just saw an Ozone report of the players that were best in these scenarios. It had the bubble around the net, the one just below.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about.
It was just came up.
Oh, yeah.
And you look at the players that are there, and it's like Connor Garland's in the crease. He's the most goals in that area in the NHL this year. Okay, what's this one off to the side of the net? Braden Point? Well, he's a pretty good player. 2
guys under 5'10" had the most goals in the NHL from the dirty areas.
And then right in the middle, bumper position, obviously, okay, he's got Kucherov. Come on, like he doesn't have to put the puck in the net. He doesn't have to put his toe caps where he needs to be. He doesn't have to keep his stick low so he doesn't run any stick interference to the players behind you. Like, there's a reason why Braden Point is Braden Point, and he scores every single season. Watch these players. Watch what they do. Watch what Garland does. He puts his face in front of like that tip with his knee up. He does it all the time. Like, he's willing to take that puck off his face to go in the net. Do you have that will? You say you do, but when you're in it and you're in a game, show me.
Can you develop that?
In surroundings, maybe. I think that's an awesome question, because I'm drawing back right now on players that I work with individually and in small group settings. Can you develop it? I mean, you can teach it, but then it has to evolve in a game setting naturally, right? Like, you have to have that instinct to land at the net at the right time. Like, you can tell, you can have this terminology and the language to these players, but if they don't accept it and understand it, so that's the message, I try to deliver to any of my clients, whether you're an NHL player or a guy that's at Shattuck, or, now working with younger players in different levels, it's kind of like your message. How simple can it be? Like, hey boys, here's a clip. You guys are at districts here. Let's talk about it. Create a round table. Let's create a summit. What's wrong with it? Connor, tell me, like, the kid who's the clip it is. Somebody tell me. Like, create the conversation. Okay, let's just go out and work on it then. Let's go do a 1v1, a 1v1. We'll turn it into maybe a 2-on-2. I don't know. Let's just go 1v1 down the ice, and then we'll add in details. Like, what's wrong here? Well, I'm attacking in a straight line. Well, that's easy to defend, hard to create. So get off the wall. Don't attack in straight lines. Attack on angles. Speak to them that way. Like, why are you trying to put it under the guy's stick all the time? For defensemen on the defensive side of this situation, we did it yesterday, and it was like, oh man, this is tough. It's like, well, what can you do? What's a detail that you can do? What you can use? What's something you can use that you have? They're like, oh, my stick. It's like, what's your stick doing? Like, here's a minute of clips of NHL guys, like, having influence with their stick. Stick detail doesn't mean active sticks, when your stick everywhere, but like a lunge is going to make Vex do something he doesn't want to do. He's uncomfortable now. But if you just channel back and be like, oh, come on, Vex, take the ozone blue line. Okay, well, you're going to take it.
Well, I dumped it in, actually.
But it'll force guys into doing something they don't want to do. And the Ds were like, they do it a couple times. Hey, I want another rep. Give me another one. This went on for, I don't know, there's no time limit. Like, with what we do, we skate for 75 minutes. Like, if we need more time on this, we'll take more time. Guys are like, I want another rep. It's like, okay, coach, watch my rep. Sure. Look, stick detail, turned it over. Like, it's just how simple can we make it for these guys?
Yeah. And Vex, I'll take a stab at it too. And I've had conversations with Barry Smith about this. I think the older you get, the harder it is to instill something completely new as far as a mindset in a player. And so when you talk about like competitiveness and willingness and all that kind of stuff, that's why it's so important for youth coaches to instill these things, because like, if you're a youth coach and you are drawing up drills where players have to get to the net, right? Or you have to get to the dirty areas, it's going to be a part of kind of their fabric of who they are as a player. And again, there's a nature piece to this. There are some kids that are a little bit more assertive than others just based on genetics and upbringing and stuff. Mm-hmm. But when you talk about the nurture side of it, that's why, youth, it's really hard to change a zebra's stripes when they get to be 18, 19 years old. Yeah. It's, you're pretty much set in and now it would take a Herculean effort from a mindset shift standpoint to really change a player and get them to think outside of who they are when you get to that age. And if you have the ability to do that, it can change your career. And it does for a lot of players, mm-hmm. Especially the ones who are offensive players, growing up, and then they've been asked when they get to pro hockey to play a different role, like yourself. Yeah. You have to be willing to do that, but there's not a lot of people that are. So that's where, really as coaches, our jobs in youth hockey is so incredibly important, because we're setting the foundation for all the principles that we're talking about right now. So players have that when they get older and they can have some success. Sure. So I feel like there is a nature part of it where it's like, a kid is who they are based on their personality and all that, but also if you get to him, the younger you get to him, the more change you'll be able to make, if that makes any sense. Kevin, I don't know if that makes any sense.
It makes totally sense to you, because for sure, I think, and maybe Vex can chime in on this as well, but, you get a player on the ice and at 18 or 20 or, it's like, how much, I'm not going to change the way this guy skates. Like, there's defaults in his game, habits that can be changed, but like a default skating pattern, if you're 18 or 19 or 20, like maybe even 16, like, I don't know what the number is. I don't know if I can change the way this guy skates. Like, I don't know if I have that detail myself, but like, I don't know, show me something different in the best coach, the USA, NTP skating coach. Like, can you change somebody's pattern? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You can change their you can change their habits and like, off ice, you can change that. That's what everyone's trying to do in a sense of like building hockey intelligence or like translating everything you do off the ice to on the ice and making decision making. Like, I feel like there's a huge focus on that nowadays. But like you said, Toph, like the younger that you get to them, like you usually see the best skaters are the best skaters because they were at the beginning when they're like 8 or 9 or 10, and they're still the best skaters at 16.
Yeah, they naturally have a stride that is mechanically whatever.
It's probably just who they worked with from like 5 to 8, or like those guys are probably the most influential if you're loving the game and you want the kids to have fun out there, but like they're molding. That's moldable. You get the guys in the gym Vex, and it's like you can mold that guy, but like, and it's going to take a ton of, external hip mobility if this guy can't open up this way, but does he have something internally wrong with him that needs to be fixed? I don't know. You can't see it until they go in and take the MRI or whatever. And it's like, oh, wow. Okay. Like, no wonder my right's better than my left. Like, everyone probably has that issue, but to what degree?
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
The secret is out. With millions of younger-looking customers across the country, Plexiderm is one of the most highly sought-after products on the market. It visibly shrinks under-eye bags and smooths out crow's feet in minutes, and the effects last up to 10 hours. Influencers love it, magazines feature it, and people just can't get enough of it. As a matter of fact, Elle Magazine gave it an Editor's Choice Award as Best Instant Wrinkle Filler for 2025. In as little as 10 minutes, Plexiderm reduces the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, and those dreaded under-eye bags. So yes, you can look years younger in minutes, and the effects last for hours. No surgery, no gimmicks, just results. The best news, you can try Plexiderm for only $14.95. Plus, get free shipping. Don't wait. Order Plexiderm today. Visit plexiderm.com/special. That's plexiderm.com/special. Paid for by Sheer Science.
Well, I want to ask you another question, Kevin, about kind of player development and, again, just getting the opportunity to look at your stats. You, for 2 years in the DEL. So the DEL, for those that don't know, is the pro league in Germany. It's one of the top pro leagues over in Europe. And for 2 years, you were the top plus-minus player in the DEL. Top plus-minus player. And one of the things that Vex and I talk about as it relates to player development is the importance of youth coaches to develop versatility in kids' games. So making sure that kids are not one-trick ponies, because one-trick ponies, they die very quick deaths when they go up to higher levels and they're asked to play a different role, or their one shining ability doesn't translate to the next level. Like, let's say you're just a big fast skater, but you don't have any hockey sense. You can't skate in a straight line and get around everybody anymore. And so, you do a lot of video now in your life post hockey. And I'm wondering how in your video that you do with players, and then how just kind of like through your development process to be able to win the best plus minus player in one of the top leagues in the world, how would you go about teaching versatility in a player's game? Because I think it's so incredibly important that we do that as coaches.
Totally. And I mean, I have a perfect example of a player that's at Shattuck. He's already D1 committed. He's an 08, and he's in that situation where he doesn't get, probably the power play reps that he thinks he should have, or he's starting to understand the value of those middle 6 to bottom 6 players, that there's not a willingness for those guys to do that. So if you understand that, the coaches actually appreciate those guys, and the GMs value those players even more because there's less of them that will accept it and do it well. And you see it every year. You see it every July 1. You see these guys get 6-year deals at $2.5 million, or, Callie Yarncrooks or Parker Kellys. And you start to understand, like, oh, wow, there is a place for guys like that, man.
Oh, and by the way, and this is for all the kids that are listening, if you're in one of those roles right now, and then somebody on the top line gets hurt or starts playing bad, who do you think the coach is going to want to bring up to play in that role? Is it going to be the one that pouts and mopes and makes excuses because they're on the second line or the third line or whatever? No, they're going to put the player up there that they trust with their work ethic, and they know what they're going to get out of them every day.
For sure. And I mean, so I think, how do I teach it, or how do you message it to the player? Is every player has a different profile, and they're always different. He's a great skating player, but his stick detail when he finishes checks is brutal. So it's like, if you can get him to understand, like, it's not stick on puck, but like to take something away, you can still finish. You're still finishing. He's not an oversized player. His speed is incredible. His straight line speed is elite. But for him, like, you're there, you're finishing, but you're not breaking up any play. So it's like, how many times do I have to show this over and over again? And you stay with that player because you see them make the transitions and the improvements in other areas that that it will come. And all we are as teachers and coaches is just, we're reminders. We're making them aware. We're pulling those details out that the coaches don't have time. And maybe the coaches would have time for that one. But if we want to talk more specific details, whether it's going back for pucks, and the most critical one, scan or shoulder check or look, is the one before you get the puck. Like, how do you go out and work on that? It's as simple as that. Just go toss a puck over there. Working with an NHL guy, like, that's not enough. Is this enough? Well, is that quality enough? Did you collect anything? Let's go add in pressure. Like, we're that simple right now.
I say to my guys, because like and that's something specifically that you can work on in the gym. I know for a fact, and Topher and I talk about it all the time. Yeah. I played with my head down my whole life until I got to the American League, and guys were like, hey, you should probably look around before you go into the boards full speed with a guy right behind you and know what you're going to do. And so I started forcing myself all practice long. I looked like a bobblehead, looked ridiculous. Took a few years, but I got way better at it. That's why I scored way more points when I went to Europe. But in the gym, you can work on this stuff. But like you just said, it's working on it with intention. When I'll tell guys, like, fast head, slow eyes, when we're moving around, doing agility, like, move your head fast, collect information, read signs on the wall in the gym. Like, if you see something, read it, then move your head fast, read something over there. And when I get new kids in the gym, they'll just be moving their head when and I'm like, Stevie Wonder. Yeah. Hey, Stevie Wonder. And unless it's like the pro group, nobody gets that joke. I think it's freaking hilarious because you're just doing this. But I'm like, you're not collecting any info. You can tell me what's on the wall over there. You don't know because you were moving your head because I said so. I need you to move your head and see what's over there. And if we're making a play, who are you going to be passing to? Who's open? Yeah. You have to do things with a purpose, not just do them to do them.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why those guys are even more influential in today's game, because players that give back are in that roles like Vex, where, and even Toph, to message it over is like, players come up to you and they're like, what do I need to work on? I mean, well, you're skating, but it's like, well, what are you doing off the ice? Like, are you sprinting? Like, are you curvicular running? Like, are you running on a curve? Like, are you, like, just go and a D-man I worked with for the first time. He's just a teen, plays AAA. And he's like, I'm like, where are you skating in the summer? He's like, down here and, doing a lot of overspeed. And I'm like, okay. I show him the overspeed. I do like 15 crossovers. And I'm like, when as a D-man in a game are you ever doing this? And he's like, oh, yeah. He's 15 or 16. And he's like, yeah, you're right. Like, it's not translatable. Like, just go watch your game. You have access. All these kids have access. Go and watch your game. See what you do. Look at the patterns and go and work on those on the turf before we come on the ice. And if you don't know, go see somebody that knows. And Bex will help you and show you, okay, you'll have to react to a decision. You'll have to, go here off of red or blue or whatever it is. Guys use blaze pods, whatever it is. And then you can throw and catch a football. And now it's like a game. A decision has to be made. You need to be aware of what's around you. We're building intelligence off the ice, totally translatable to now when you get on the ice and we go and break it down. And then we layer in pressure. We layer in a passing option. We're recreating the game for them in a small group setting. And then hopefully when they get to the game, this comes out.
Well, let me ask you this. Guys who around 16 and above, who you've worked with that maybe get those little like details a little bit more. Do you know, are they guys who played other sports growing up? Because like when I'm thinking about like all the guys that I train, NHL down to like, what's the young, like 13-year-old AAA players, right? Like all the guys who in the gym, like can pick up things quicker that are athletic or can move their head and their eyes while they're moving. They're all guys who played multiple sports for longer for the most part. And one of the ones that I'm noticing is honestly soccer now. Like the guys who off the ice. Now, off the ice moving is not the same as on the ice. Just because you're a good runner doesn't make you a good skater. And vice versa is also true. So there is a piece of that too. But just from like they're able to control their body. They can kind of, have a stutter step, a fake while their eyes are up. There are a lot of guys that played soccer. Do you notice any correlation with things like that with your guys who maybe move better or more deceptive and things like that?
Yeah. I mean, we like shout out to my coach that I had at 30, Riley Dudar, that has Evolution Hockey in Winnipeg. And I mean, all they preach is multi-sport athletes. Like they're on the ice, but then they're playing badminton, then they're playing squash, and then they're doing jujitsu or, Muay Thai or whatever. And you're golfing or you're being a kid. Like just go be a kid. And it's as simple as to say, but like, do not surround yourself with the amount of hours. Don't confuse movement with progress, because it's not intentional work. When you get back to me and we skate twice a week, that's it. I don't need to see you 4 to 5 times a week. You won't be collecting anything when we're here. So is there a correlation? Yeah, 100%. How can it be preached enough? I don't know. Like it just needs to be accepted. And is there going to be kids at 14 that do hockey all year round, and 13 and 15 and 16 because it's so competitive and insane, and we're going to this tournament and I'm going to this agency camp, and it's like, great. Because you're not playing pro until you're 18. Like Mason West or whatever. You can look at so many examples that are out there that are live now. And I'm just going back to collecting information, and you talked about connecting soccer to hockey, and I wasn't really a big soccer fan until I lived in Switzerland and in Germany, and that's the sport. And you start to watch Bundesliga, and my kid got to go to school with players that are on Leverkusen and Granit Xhaka. Go watch him, center mid. His most successful pass succession in like all of Europe football, and go and watch his game. Dude, his head is like here all the time. They control the game. Center mids, watch them. You want to be a hockey player? Go and watch soccer and watch guys that are like this. And it's like, wow, no wonder he makes successful passes, successful completions, successful plays, because he's constantly taking pictures of what's going on. And everyone talks about that in hockey, like Datsuk or those players that were so good. I mean, I'm trying to think of a player in today's game, but
then you go and watch a youth practice and you see coaches just allowing players to play with their head down all the time. And it's like, blow the whistle.
Don't even get me started. Yeah.
No,
they just make sure the boards are still standing, and they just inhale and exhale and blow a whistle. And they leave the construction, leave the cones for the construction workers, boys.
Oh God.
The game is a blank canvas.
Yeah.
Go and teach it with no shit on the ice.
Well, Kevin, this was great, man. We really appreciate your time. Before we do let you go, can you just share a little bit about where our listeners can find you? Website, social media. Sure. If they're interested in getting in touch with you, how would they find you?
Yeah, we're at cascade-hockey.com. Cascade Hockey on Instagram. I'm not a huge social guy. I know you have to do it these days to create a landing, but what we do with guys is we work with guys individually through the fall and winter, through personalized video analysis, and it's more of a mentorship program. And we do a lot of small group settings, and we have our summer program here that's live and local. And then, we work with a lot of guys remotely. Most of all of our guys are remotely just because video is so good nowadays that we're able to do that.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, thank you so much for your wisdom and your stories and sharing your journey with us, Kevin Clark. Appreciate your time, man. We're going to keep you for another 10 questions. This is a little rapid fire 10 questions that we host in our Hockey Think Tank community. So if you want to hear Kevin and all of our other podcast guests, a little rapid fire 10 questions, go to community.thehockeythinktank.com and check that out. But appreciate your time, man. This was awesome. And enjoy that weather out there in beautiful Colorado. Go get a good hike in, man.
Of course, boys. Thank you, man. It was awesome.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.